First thing that comes to my mind is family. School. The company. Well, I suppose love is always connected to people that you care about. And I suppose people that are, to me, what matters most is my family. These are the people that's most important to me, make me where am I today, you know.
Right.
So when it comes to love, my intention, my affection will be for them now.
Right.
Traditional way of thinking school is only your secondary school, but to me, school means your workplace.
Right.
That's where you learn the most, you know. I mean, there's no proper, education program, but you learn through the school of hard knocks.
Right.
And that's probably make the biggest impact to me, in terms of making me where I am today, And it's always a constant learning. And that's why when we say learn, I prefer school. And school, in my view, is not just primary school, secondary school, but it's the school of hard knocks, which is the environment that you are in. When you talk about leadership, in my view, now that we have the discussion, I mean, one, of course, is the company. I mean, here, even in Petronas, you're looking, a business, so you need to use all your leadership skill. But one should also extend leadership, so to any capacity you are.
Right.
And in the family, you're also the leader of the family, so you should have to lead. In the community, you're also a leader.
Sure.
So I think one is about the institution that you are with. Second is about the character and the skill set that you have to acquire about leadership.
Right.
So you can be in an organization, but you don't have the leadership skill, so you cannot be a leader.
Right.
You could have the leadership skill, but you have nothing to lead and nothing in the environment. So how do you call yourself a leader?
That's right. Right.
So I think it's a combination of both. Then only I think one can describe you to be a leader in your own right. In a company, when we look from a business point of view, one has to exercise both your leadership and your management skill. That's what people try to look up for the ultimate leader. The charisma, the drive, the motivation, and so on and so forth. But in my experience, today in the modern world where the business are very dynamic, and more importantly, when you deal with the younger people, the leader should also have some humanization. The soul and the love should also be there.
Right.
I always like to think about the holistic leadership of the individual. There is the modern leadership, which I think we need to learn and acquire the necessary skill to lead an organization. There's also the soft skill, the human touch. I think a leader can only be good if you have the best of both. I mean, often the leader is seen to be someone that's very unattached to the people, very unemotional, more like a robot rather than human. So I think we are just human beings. I think the more we prove to the people that we're just a normal individual, taking a responsibility, and the more attached you are to the people, I think that can bring the best they will do. Particularly today, where people are exposed to, information everywhere. So you cannot run a company the way you used to run 10 or 15 years ago. So you need to develop a certain skill set. So that's why I think that today the leaders of the future requires a different skill set compared to the futures of the past.
Right.
The modern management, I think, is very important, but the soft skill, the humanization, I think is always important. In Malay, they call it the ihsan, the soul.
Right.
If you don't have the soul, then you cannot have this personal relationship.
Right.
Because sometimes it's about personal relationship in organization, and it's also about personal relationship with your customers, your stakeholders, and your partners.
Right.
I mean, that's where I learn, and I like to mold myself to be someone that has more holistic leadership rather than just purely, excellent one dimension of leadership, which I think is more important to me.